Welcome back, you history-loving I got a strange feeling of deja vu. Oh well, time for the finale. The end game to my three-part series that should have concluded before 2019 ended, but hey, now I can blame it to the coronavirus for my laziness. Now, you have already watched the first two parts, so you know who's coming up next. That's right, Uncle Trotsky is here, baby. So what does this other glorious mustache and bearded man bring to the table? Does he bring more communism, conquer more of the world, or does he bring more dank maymays? Short answer, yes. After the fall of Poland and the death of Lenin, Trotsky would obviously be the first in line to inherit the throne. That sounds very wrong. What does Trotsky do that tells him apart from Papa Stalin? Well, surprisingly not that much. The starvation of Ukraine and the forced industrialization of the USSR is still happening. The 5-year plans still happen because they were originally Trotsky's idea that Stalin took. Remember, this is gonna be a reoccurring thing. Oh, and also, political dissidents will still be sent to the gulags of Siberia. What about the division of the Soviet Union? Would it be less centralized? Stalin forced centralization onto the Union, like the whole communism in one state thing. Even if the Soviet Union would have been run by Trotsky, we would see the same division of the Union into smaller SSRs. If not, we would see even more SSRs, but with the Russian Federation part being in charge of the other SSRs. How many times did I say that word? With Poland's territories going to the SSRs of Ukraine, Belarus, Lithuania, and the new SSRs in the Carpathians, so that the Hungarian communists have a place they could turn to, the ridiculous borders of the stands would not have happened due to the fact that Trotsky isn't into the divide and conquer strategy that Stalin was into. So borders are changed to fit the demographics of the SSRs, basically balkanizing the region to fit its ethnicities. Oh wow, the borders look like absolute fucking shit. Trotsky was more of a general of an army, and politics wasn't his strongest forte. Well, neither was for Stalin, but hey, no one's perfect. So he would assign more fitting leaders to the SSRs to rule over domestic needs, while he would run the state as a military leader. Now, that doesn't mean that he would be laid back on everything, far from that. He would still be on top, but with others having more impact. But if he sees any disturbance, he would smite down with the power of Lenin. Being in control now allows him to continue his simp quest of making the world communist. Oh wait, most people don't know this. So anyways, fun fact, this dude turned communist so that he could get into a girl's panties. And after getting into her, he thought to himself, why should I work for a woman when I can work for the state and get all the women? So then he joins the Mensheviks, seeing the Bolsheviks as too revolutionary. Honestly, if this man has this much audacity to call them too revolutionary, then I have more than enough nuts to call my dad lazy for not cleaning his fucking dishes. Not that I clean them. So people would like to say that he would be a war-hungry madman and would go on and just like declare war on everyone. That wouldn't really be the case. You see, this isn't Hoi 4, and people change over time. Also, Asia exists, so no one can predict how Trotsky can rule the Union. So, is this the conclusion of the video? Does this stop rational thinking men to proceed knowing that no matter what he says, it's gonna be unrealistic, doubtful, hated, or worse, disliked and forced to read a novel's worth of hate comments? That isn't gonna stop me from making the USSR OP again. Anyways, one more thing I need to add. Alcohol in the Soviet Union, kinda legal for a short bit. No, seriously, you can Google that. Okay, now for the juicy bits. Start with the sexual transitions. The reaction of most of Europe is out of fear. The fall of Poland and the Baltics would be seen as a failure to the Allies, but not that they can do anything about it. They fought them for almost a decade and the people don't want another war, so for now they would stay and watch. The Balkans' point of view are mixed. Like the ethnicities. O ne, ja sam čist Srbin, ne može taka da mi pričaš. Listen here, fat ass. That I took as an example because everyone else here is the fucking same. We all fucked each other, literally. No amount of burek is gonna lessen the Albanian in me, and no amount of Kosovo is gonna fulfill your empty heart. So the Romanians would try to make an alliance with the Turks, Czechoslovakians and the Yugoslavians to defend themselves against the Soviet Union. Greece would contribute to some degree, but would hold mixed views on them. Yugoslavia is also a wild card, as the Serbians view the Russians as an ally. Bulgaria, on the other hand, might try to strike a deal with the Soviets if they ever try to expand southwards, to reclaim some lost territories, if not more. The non-Russian Russians of Europe. The Swedish, Norwegian and Finnish governments would try to keep the borders they have intact. The most likely to be targeted is Finland, as it used to be a former Russian land. Would they band together and protect their new formed ally? Hell no. They know if they did that, that would provoke the Soviets, well, mostly Trotsky, so they say their farewells to Finland as nicely as they can. The US's views of the collapse of Poland and the Baltic nations is a disaster and a setback from the achievements of the Great War. They wanted to set rules and borders out of ethnic lines and lessen conflict and reduce tension, and would blame the Soviets for any disturbances that happened inside of Europe. Oh shit, the stock market just fucking crashed. Quick, hide your burgers under your third chin before the socialists take it away from you. Why did I force myself to go to this fucking place? Any YouTuber that mostly focuses on Europe and goes to Asia and acts like they know everything are just crying out, "My dick is small while the women I fuck are large." How would the whole conflict in Asia go down? Well, it's probably just gonna be, is Trotsky gonna get the hard on by fucking Japan? Short answer, yes. Long answer, now, compared to the last scenario, Trotsky would be the one that starts off most of the shit, starting poorly planned civil wars and invade countries as soon as they fail. This would start the Second World War. But when would it start? As soon as Hitler enters the scene. The USSR declares war in the pretense that Germany is a threat to the world's stability. The West, most Britain and France, join the Germans in their war against the Soviets. Germany, having basically no army, falls to the Russians, and the French stay in the Maginot Line. Plans are made to go around it, of course. Romania and Czechoslovakia fall to the communists, and Hungary gets couped, having the communists take control and are giving lost territories of the old Austro-Hungarian Empire. Yugoslavia and Bulgaria, worried that they would be next, made a pact with Italy and Greece, together with Turkey, that if they would be invaded, that they would stay together in the upcoming war. The USSR, after hearing this, stayed off from invading the Balkans to focus on France. The Soviets invade Belgium and start a hard war with the French, not going as fast as the Germans as they didn't develop blitzkrieg. In the Far East, the Japanese see the Allies are distracted, and they launch an invasion of their colonies, and also invade China. France falls due to rising unrest and communist sympathizers taking control of the state. Paris falls to the revolutionaries and not to the Soviets, so France exits the war peacefully, turning into a communist state. By peacefully, I mean bloody and gruesome. The US is dragged into the war after the Japanese attack them, just like in our timeline. The Soviet Union, knowing that it secured Europe, launches an invasion of the Japanese territories in China, and together with the Americans they take out the Japanese Empire. Britain was left out of the peace treaty, and America was left with British and French colonies. British Malaya, Hong Kong, French Indochina are handed to the Americans. In Europe, Italy, Spain and Yugoslavia get couped and fall to the communists. The British, seeing that a prolonged war with the Soviets might drag in the new French Commune, they sign a peace treaty with the Soviet Union. Trotsky wins the Second World War. Eventually, the Americans and the Soviets would fight, either in a Cold War scenario or direct conflict. Who would win is down to can the US and its allies hold out long enough for the American industry to outproduce the Soviets, or will the Soviets, with the aid of its communist ally, invade the British, take over India and lock away the world from the Americans. That is up for you to decide. Trotsky would believe that he will take out the Americans, that it's just a matter of time, not knowing that after his death, the Soviet Union would be left with a long stare at the Americans, never in reach, but never far enough away that they feel safe. And that concludes the last fucking part of this fucking series. Pichko mater. It took me so fucking long. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed it. And I would probably upload a movie-like type of video of having all 3 parts into one massive video. Also, I have an Instagram page and a Patreon. If you want to support me, you can go check them out. For now, I am Omesh, and I will see you guys in the next video. Now, hit the music!